My name is Harel Menashri. I'm from Israel. I am 61 years old. I serve for many years, something like 36 years in the Israeli security services, include the army. And I was one of the first people that deal with the cyber area in Israel. And by the way, I'm used to say cyber defense because in my point of view, cybersecurity is only part of the defense. For example, in Israel, we suffer a lot of terror acts, many terror acts, and we put guards in the gates of every main building, such as mall and et cetera, et cetera. And the problem is that the terrorist can come to the guard, take out his knife or pistol or bomb himself on the guard. And we want to catch him, this terrorist, far away from his distance, a long distance from his destination, or maybe in his base. The same thing in the cyber area. So we do a lot of things such as cooperation, collaboration, gather information, many things about intelligence, and some very, very unique and technological stuff. We don't have time to talk about it now, maybe sometime later. Anyway, I retired from the service something like six years ago, almost 7. And I'm teaching in H.I.T, Holon Institute of Technology. I'm also teaching in Tel Aviv University in the Faculty of Health. I'm teaching in Ilan University in the Department of Science, and I'm also a research terror in Reichman University in Israel, and I'm working in other universities around the world. So let's start a little bit about the problem we have. You can see what this very famous man from Cisco told us, and he writes, it's not if you attack. It's only the question if you noticed and you know that someone attacked you. And the COVID period changed a lot of things because it's bring many organizations work from long distance. And when you work from long distance, in the most of the organizations that I'm a consultant and help, I see that many people bring their own technology from home and they use their own technology. And when they do it, the technology is not safe enough, is not secure enough, and it's a harm and hit the defense of the organization. And it's make the attack surface larger and bigger and bring many, many points that the attackers can access to the organization from. We see many attacks that use social engineering. Social engineering means that I try as an attacker to make you do something you must not do, but you do it without understanding from your own will. And you let me access to your infrastructure. We see many, many, many attacks of for money like this from criminals. even in Israel. And I can see, and I can show you, I'm sorry about my English, I never learned English, I hope you understand me. This is from the Israeli television. I'll show you two pictures. This doctor is in one Israeli hospital. This is other doctor in other hospital. And you can see behind them, there is a paper that show all the world the username and password of the system. And you can see it in every place in hospitals, in every department. So I don't have to be very, very good attacker to find how to access to medical devices in hospitals, because people not aware enough. And I can tell you that attacks against hospital and medic devices and all the health area didn't start at the COVID period. It started something like 2015, but we see a high move of those attacks from 2017, for example. If you remember WannaCry was attacked, but that made by North Korea. It wasn't against anyone, it was only for gather money. But in this attack, anyone that wasn't defend, and there were defense against it, but anyone that didn't defend himself, hit. And for example, the British healthcare system fell down, almost all of it, and people die. And you can see that in July 2018, Singapore suffered from a very large attacks that take many details of like something like 1.5 million people and sell it. So we see in the COVID period that the graph of the attacks go high and high, because many countries and organizations want to know how to have the vaccines, for example. We can see countries such as Russia, China, Iran, North Korea that use attacks against health organizations to gather information about how you deal with the COVID. You can see also many groups of attackers, criminal attackers, that want to gather money because they know it's very soft belly that you can use to attack and gather money. In Israel, we suffer from one attacks like this in a very big hospital, governmental hospital. This attack shut down some systems for almost a month. And it's because the defenders did not do what they should do to defend themselves. And it's a big problem, because when you shut down hospital, people can die. And we see in some places, in Germany, in United States, and in some other places, in Great Britain, as I mentioned before, that people even die before because attacks of health systems. According security companies, we have something like between 690 to 900 attacks in medical institutes every week. And it's a lot. It's a lot. Every week we hear about a successful attack, unfortunately, on hospitals and so on. I talk about this, so let's go ahead. The ransom is a great problem, but it's not everything, because we see also, as I mentioned, attacks from countries. But crime groups work not only for ransom, but also to steal data and to sell it in the dark web. The main problem for a health sector, the main risks, I try to put it together, and maybe we have a little time to question, because I have only 10 minutes, as I mentioned, to steal data, to steal personal information from medical records, and to sell it. Now, only imagine that your president data steals, and someone can blackmail him or someone from his family and use it to act against the country. But of course, it could be in every other aspect. Think about changing the dose for patients. If I can breach for insulin injectors, and I can, and change the dose, I can make people that suffer from the and need insulin, I can make them die, can kill them. We can attack many medical devices that today connect to the internet and connect to networks inside medical devices, inside the hospitals and other organizations. And from the hospital, they are connected to other places. For example, we know from 2008 how to breach to pacemakers and change it. Now, only think that someone want to kill someone that use such a medical device that implement inside his body, such as a pacemaker. And today, all the pacemakers communicate to the patient, to the smartphone, and from the smartphone, also the doctor can see what the conditions and to interrupt. And if I can interrupt as attacker in this medical device, and I can change the situation, I can kill the patient from long distance. No one will know. Think about oxygen in hospitals. If I breach to a hospital and I can breach to the emergency rooms, I can change the oxygen supply and kill people. Let's think about very sophisticated machines like MRI or CT. I can move data between patients. I can also change the temperature from long distance and make people that come to the machine to suffer from heat. I can do a lot of things. I can stop the machine and do many things. Now, the main problem that the producers did not understood and did not decide from the beginning to defend and to produce in secure point of view the devices. So we got many devices that we need to have a shell of defense in the organization itself. For example, let's think about communication and electronic stuff. I can try to attack the electricity, and also the communication, and to shut down the ability of the hospital or other medical organization to act. It's a very big problem, and you have to understand that all the infrastructure defend and communicate and connect each other, and I don't need to attack the grid that make the electricity. I can also attack the energy supply, and if I do it and I do it well, I shut down also the electricity. So when I think about security and defense, I have to think about it in holistic point of view from above, and to do it together. And we can't do it only for one organization. We have to do it with collaboration around the world and collaborations between organizations. This is the end of the presentation.